One strike, then another. Not a mistake, but a pattern. Investigations suggest double-tap attacks by US and Israel may be hitting again just as civilians and rescuers arrive, driving casualties higher with each blast in Iran. As questions mount over 13,000 targets, is this the fog of war or a line being crossed? A growing body of open-source evidence is raising serious questions about the conduct of US-Israeli airstrikes in Iran, pointing to a pattern of so-called double-tap strikes. According to the US-based human rights activist news agency, at least 1,700 civilians have been killed since the campaign began. Investigations by New Lines magazine, based on verified videos, satellite imagery, and expert analysis, suggest repeated instances where initial strikes were followed by secondary explosions, often when civilians or responders were present. In Karaj, during the Sizdah Bedar festival on April 2nd, families gathered near the Bilqan B1 Bridge when multiple airstrikes hit the site. Footage shows civilians picnicking nearby before a second explosion struck moments later. Experts say such patterns significantly increase civilian casualties. Meanwhile, weapons analysts identified the use of precision-guided 2,000-pound bombs in the Karaj strike, raising further questions about targeting decisions in populated areas. Meanwhile, in Tehran, similar patterns emerged. Strikes near the Tehran Regional Electric Company, located in a dense urban area, showed multiple explosions occurring in close succession, with civilians visible in the vicinity. Satellite imagery later confirmed extensive damage to surrounding civilian infrastructure, including commercial areas and nearby buildings. Experts argue the military justification for some of these strikes remains unclear.
If the bridge was not in current use, then the anticipated military advantage is in the future. It's attenuated, it's uncertain. Whereas the expected civilian harm is immediate, concrete, and very significant. Even if somehow the bridge was a military objective, the attack would have violated the proportionality rule and caused disproportionate civilian harm.
Legal analysts emphasize that follow-up strikes, especially when rescuers or civilians gather, are particularly difficult to justify under international humanitarian law.
With the second strike, and this is often the case with double taps, the civilian harm increases because civilians come to the area to try to rescue the wounded. And the military advantage typically drops because the first strike had some effect and achieved some of the military advantage you were seeking.
Former Pentagon targeting expert Wes Bryant also questioned discrepancies between official claims and actual strike locations.
This actual targeting tells me they were very clearly trying to degrade or destroy the capabilities of this entire electricity complex. It doesn't align with saying you're striking an intelligence headquarters.
Across multiple incidents, investigators say the pattern suggests either failures in civilian harm mitigation or a broader operational shift.
It makes this whole campaign even more concerning, because it's not just the targets they're choosing to hit, which are often civilian, which often have civilians in and around them, but then doing these re-attacks or these double taps, where civilians are even more at risk in that second strike.
As scrutiny intensifies, the question now confronting policymakers and military planners is not just about tactical success, but whether the conduct of the campaign itself risks crossing legal and moral thresholds in modern warfare. Tensions in the Gulf have sharply escalated as the United States moves to enforce a naval blockade targeting Iranian ports and maritime activity. US President Donald Trump issued a direct warning to Iranian naval assets, signaling a shift toward aggressive maritime enforcement.
Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of drugs coming into the U.S. by ocean or sea have stopped.
The blockade, announced by US Central Command, is set to target vessels entering or leaving Iranian ports. while allowing transit through the Strait of Hormuz to non-Iranian destinations. Iran has strongly rejected the move. In a statement broadcast on state television, Iran's military command warned that the blockade violates international law and risks wider escalation.
The restrictions imposed by criminal America on maritime navigation and transit in international waters are illegal and constitute an example of piracy.
Tehran further warned that if its ports are threatened, no port in the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea will be safe, signaling potential retaliation across regional maritime infrastructure. The blockade follows the collapse of US-Iran talks in Islamabad, brokered by Shehbaz Sharif, dashing hopes of a diplomatic off-ramp after weeks of war. Global reaction has been swift. China urged restraint, warning that disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, a key artery for global energy flows, could destabilize international markets. European allies have also distanced themselves. Spain's defense minister called the move senseless, while UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer confirmed Britain would not participate in the blockade. Meanwhile, oil markets reacted immediately, with Brent and WTI crude prices surging past $100 per barrel amid fears of prolonged supply disruption. With diplomacy stalled and naval forces now directly confronting each other in one of the world's most critical waterways, the Strait of Hormuz is once again at the center of a high-stakes geopolitical standoff, where even a minor miscalculation could trigger a far wider conflict.